The end of the French-Indian War marks the end of salutary neglect and the first step towards the American Revolution. The war united the colonists against a common enemy for the first time and created a socializing experience for all colonists that participated. This also created bitter feelings towards British that will only intensify as time goes on. Proclamation of 1763 states that the colonists shall not pass the Appalachian Mountains. This was written by George Grenville, the Prime Minister during the French-Indian War, because the British will not be able to protect the colonists if they pass over into the Appalachian Mountains and into Indian Territory.
From 1751 until 1761, the writs of assistance were in effect. This was when British ships blockaded ports to ensure people were not smuggling goods off to other countries. The Stamp Act of 1765 and the Townshend Acts helped Britain pay off debt from the French and Indian War. It also helped pay off British government. The letters from a Pennsylvania farmer written by Thomas Bradford, a rich white colonist, shows the views people should have against Britain, or his own opinion. The Massachusetts circular letters were a way for people in Boston to share their feelings. It helped alleviate some conflicts. This political cartoon, drawn by Paul Revere, shows the incident on King Street, or the Boston Massacre. It shows British troops firing on an unarmed colonial militia. This is the first encounter between British troops and colonial forces in the New World. The Gaspee Affair is when a small colonial ship led a large British ship out to sea and got it stuck. The Sons of Liberty then rowed boats to the British vessel and lit it on fire and burned it. This eventually led to the Tea Act of 1773. It was when Britain added a 1-cent tax to all tea to pay off debt and to pay the British government. The Sons of Liberty then countered this and boarded a British ship and dumped thousands of pounds of tea into the harbor. The three acts, the Townshend Acts, the Tea Act, and the Stamp Act, annoyed the colonists. None of them lasted over 10 years, but they did enough for the British government to be kicked out of the colonies in the long run.
In response to the intolerable acts, the First Continental Congress was created. Writing to the king asking him to listen to the loyal colonists and hear their complaints for these over-eccentric acts.
Lexington and Concord were the first two real battles of the Revolutionary War. The British pounded Lexington's forces, but were stopped abruptly in the Battle of Concord.
Following Lexington and Concord, colonists come together in the Second Continental Congress. There are two documents created by the Second Continental Congress: the Declaration of the Causes and Necessity of Taking Up Arms, and the Olive Branch Petition. The Olive Branch Petition is the colonists asking the king, King George III, to pay attention to them so they don't have to go to war. This is their last-ditch effort, hoping to make amends and avoid war at all costs. This, however, did not work. The king sends troops to Boston to eliminate the militia there, and this is known as the Battle of Bunker Hill, which was actually occurring on Breed's Hill. During the battle, colonists eventually retreat but see themselves as winning due to the number of casualties they caused. There were three main reasons as to why the Declaration of Independence was written. The first one is the burning down of port cities in America. The second one, and most important one, is the hiring of Hessians. They were a military.
In the year 1776, a man named Thomas Paine published his views of the Revolutionary War in a pamphlet titled Common Sense.
The second reason was the British hiring Hessians, a German missionary killing force. This was the British hiring outside forces to help them, and it really pushed the colonists over the edge. The third main reason why the colonists declared independence was that British offered freedom to any slave fighting on the British side if they were to win. And the colonists did not agree with this. This, of course, led to the Declaration of Independence and the beginning of the American Revolution. The Declaration of Independence could be seen as the best breakup letter ever. But when it reaches England, they aren't really ready to fight because they have militias everywhere and they're not a single army in America. Eventually, an army is formed and led by George Washington.